Hey, Friendly Hollow. Hey, it's New, and I'm here with
Belle.
We're here just us together today, and we are going to talk about some tips and tricks for friendship bracelets. Now, these tips and tricks go for most of the bracelet designs. Some are a little different, and we'll tell you which ones these tips and tricks don't work for, but for the most of them, they work. Are we ready to get started?
Yeah.
Yeah. For this tip, we talked about most of our measurements were based on 4 strands of colors. And then we gave the measurements for lengths. Now, if you're going to have more strands, like on this one here, then we need to increase the overall length of our bracelet. Now, we haven't figured out exactly how long they should be. It's been a few years since I've done them, and you're just learning them. So just remember that you'll want to increase the length as the number of threads increase. For this tip, we're talking about a simple way to cutting. Now, I have my 4 skeins of floss together, and I've matched them up, and I have the ends coming up, and I'm actually going to have my friend, Belle, hold them for me. So I'm going to hold my 4 ends all together, and then I'm going to take my ruler, and for my wrist, a bracelet like this measures 48. Yes, 48 inches. So I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to take it over the top. Now this ruler has a little bit of thickness to it, so it'll make your measurement slightly longer, but not enough to matter. So I wrap it around the back and around, then around again, and then I wrap it around the front of my ruler again. I bring it around, and then I measure it back up. And of course, they're going to tangle on us. Oops. Right, that's close enough. And then, so I have it wrapped around my ruler. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And that gives me the 4 feet, which is 48 inches. And then I will cut here at the top. Now with that, I measured all 4 at the same time and made it fairly simple. Cool, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now, I don't always carry a pair of scissors when I'm traveling, so I'll show you. I use fingernail clippers instead. And it's cut. Now, instead of a safety pin, I use this paper clip because 1, it snags right here, and 2, paper clips are a lot easier to get on and off, and then they don't poke you. So paper clips are good too.
Now, when I first started making friendship bracelets, I was about Belle's age. So I was in elementary school, and we used to love to work on them on the bus. So it's something to do while you don't necessarily have a friend to talk to on the bus. So let me show you a quick tip to make this a super portable craft. Paper clip, and I will put it right through my eyelid on my shoe. And then I can work on this. Right here, I can work on my bracelet while I'm on the go. Now, if yours doesn't have eyelets that you can go through, you can always put it around your laces. You'll have to make sure your laces are tied. If you have Velcro, then slip this around your Velcro, or stick your Velcro right through there like the shoelace. And that makes these friendship bracelets super portable. While we're working on our bracelet, we need to make sure for it to look as straight as possible, we need to make sure that our work isn't twisted. That's really hard to see, but just make sure that it stays flat with the side that you're working on facing up. That'll help make sure your bracelet lays flat and you're not seat correctly.
Now, since you've gotten going, now it's time to separate your strings. Now it'll be easier to remember which string goes in which order. Now you need to make sure you tie each knot twice, except for the knotted chain bracelet and the braid bracelet. You should tie close to your work to make sure you don't have to slide a long distance, because that's kind of hard. Not here. But here.
Now for this one, we'll show you how to make sure you get the right color knot that you're trying to get. Now this tip is kind of a double tip all wrapped up into one. Now we need to make sure that the string we're tying onto is held tight. So you saw with the knotted chain bracelet, you hold your whole bundle of strings tight. Now with this one, we're doing the 4 stripes. I'm going to hold my pink string tight because that's the one that I am tying onto. And cross my blue over, and I hold my pink tight, and you can see the blue knot. Now if I pulled my blue tight instead, now all of a sudden there's a little pink knot. We're not trying to get a pink knot right there, so we make sure and hold our string, our pink tight, because we're tying onto it so we get a blue knot. Let me show you that again. We want blue, so we hold pink tight. If we hold blue tight, we end up with pink, but we want blue. So hold pink tight and you can watch our knot flop. And there is how to make sure the right color shows. For this tip, we're going to make sure you grab the whole piece of yarn or floss while you're working. For this, you see that my blue piece of floss is starting to fray. There are 6 strands there that make up the one piece. So I need to make sure and grab all of the strands together. You can twist them just a little bit to keep them together, but if you tie onto part of them, it'll kind of make a mess. So just make sure and hold it tight again, and make sure and tie around all of those strands. Sometimes when you're looking at the front of your work, it's hard to see if you've made a mistake or not. So what you do is you flip your work over, and you can see right here on this one that somehow I managed to skip my green string. You can also see that I haven't pulled the pink all the way up to the top, so there's a gap right there. So I could go ahead and pull my purple string and slide that knot up, and I would need to go back and untie the blue because my pattern got off. It should be purple, then green, then blue. So tip is check the back for mistakes. Now to get your bracelet started, the first 3 or 4 rows are really the hardest rows of all. Now if you look at my bracelets here, this one I've already started and I've gotten quite far on it. And we can see, because the strings all kind of separate themselves out, which color comes next. And if we get confused, we can always go back up and look at our pattern. Now this bracelet, you just saw us cut a few minutes ago, and it's hard to tell which one goes, and we can separate our strings out, but it's still hard to see which one goes in what order. So remember, the first couple rows are the hardest, so hang in there and keep going. Now this part is part of the fun of friendship bracelets. It's to have one for yourself and one for your friend. Now, Belle already tied mine on, so I'm going to tie on Belle's so that we have matching bracelets. And that's part of the fun of friendship bracelets. Remember, we tie our square knot to put them on, and now we have matching bracelets. Now I finished my bracelet, and I have some extra thread here that I didn't end up needing because the measurements aren't exact, and we're always going to have a little bit left over, and that way it can fit your wrist, or maybe if your wrist has a little issue. So we save this part here. We can use this for crazy hair puppets or even for our clothespin art display. So good Girl Scout tip, use your resources wisely and save your scraps for your next project. We hope that those tips were helpful for your friendship bracelets. Now, we just have one last tip for you, which is have fun. We'll see you later. Bye.